Good evening, it's Owen and Julien Blanc. And what we're going to be talking to you about today is the subtle way that negative energy impacts you. And for the purpose of giving you some jargon in this video, we're going to call it high vibration energy or low vibration energy, which you might have read about in books like The Law of Attraction by Esther Hicks, or she goes by Abraham sometimes, a little cuckoo. You might have seen those high vibration spiritual gangster shirts or certain foods. They call it a high vibration food when you see it in the grocery store. And you might have wondered what that meant. That basically just means that high vibration is like present energy. You're in the moment, in the now, as Eckhart Tolle would say. And then you have low vibration energy, which is anything that gets you away from that peaceful, joyful feeling of being present and gets you into maybe feeling frenetic, where you kind of think you're happy, but it's like this kind of like caffeinated happiness, or feeling down, or what Eckhart Tolle would call pain body attacks, where you feel yourself attacking yourself, or you're fixating, or you're craving, or your mind is just scattered and it's all over the place. And what we're going to address here is not very overt pain body attacks or obvious low vibration energy when you're just flipping out, but almost what you'd call a subtle poison drip of hard to detect low vibration energy. And that's that low vibration energy where you're almost rationalizing that you are in a good mood. You're like, oh, I'm fine, but you're not present. Your head's kind of all over the place, or you're kind of feeling a little bit down or a little bit suppressed, but these subtle areas where there's almost an unnoticeable refrigerator hum of that low vibration energy, and identifying it, understanding it so that you can self-assess, and then from there giving you tools to push out of it so that you can be present and live an amazing, resourceful, positive life.
We've designed our lives in a way where we're never actually with ourselves. Like, you never actually experience yourself. A little, scenario to bring some awareness to this is, imagine you're meeting a friend, and imagine your friend is late. And the first thing we do, like say you're waiting for your friend, like, where the fuck's my friend? First thing you do, bang, pull out your phone, start checking, whatever's online, start checking your Facebook, jump on Twitter. It's like, what's the latest news? Anything to keep yourself occupied, anything to stay away from what's going on inside. As soon as you get home, it's immediately, okay, let's turn on the television, let's blast some music, let's jump online, anything to stay distracted. And it's literally reached a point where we're all conditioned this way. I remember even me, this was like, there was one day, I forgot what it was, but it happened to just be a free day. It's like, oh, you know what? Nothing going on today. And immediately I'm like, oh shit, how do I fill this day with activity? How do I fill this day so I'm just constantly on the go and I can avoid being me? I can avoid experiencing this. And what happens is we're in this constant state of just anxious escapism, like just trying to escape ourselves, trying to stay distracted, and we never bring some awareness to what the fuck's going on inside. And this is all that we know. Our lives fueling it. It's this, feedback loop, if you will. And that's why a lot of people are like, what the fuck is this? Like low vibration energy, a shitty experience? Like, I don't have that, I'm normal. But no, if you actually stop distracting yourself, if you stop escaping yourself and you just sit down with yourself, it's probably not that pleasant objectively. And I do this exercise every seminar. It's like, sit down, bring awareness into your body, stop escaping in the outside world, stop escaping in your mind, what's going on inside, and if you objectively rate it, like if someone else other than you is transported in your body, experiencing what's going on inside, if they had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, how pleasant it is, is it cool?
And without the distractions.
Yeah, without
the phone.
Like, imagine you just sitting at home right now alone, doing nothing, and suddenly they were experiencing you. Would they be like, shit, it's awesome being this person, or fuck, I'm glad I'm not them? And I can guarantee you, you're probably not that 10 out of 10. And none of us are. Due to the way that we're conditioned, none of us are 10 out of 10. And this is the lives that we live. Shitty experience of ourselves. We escape it, and we just live on this high of just like constantly trying to be on the go, this frenzy, this state of just anxiousness. And probably right now, just me talking about it, you're like, maybe he's a little bit right.
What we're talking about here is essentially mastering your subjective experience of life. Now, what does that mean? Well, one of the first things to understand is that we have addiction to emotional states. So, as Julien was saying, rate yourself right now on a scale of 1 to 10 on what's called your happiness set point, your state set point. So what that means is that with no cell phone to stare at, with no entertainment going on or stimulation, without someone having sex with you, without having a perfect meal, but you just sitting with yourself, what state are you in from 0 to 10? Now, also, this is something that sort of we talk about more in our content is like, I'd almost call it your state spike point. What can you spike yourself to? Because say you get into a massive flow state, you can spike yourself up. And the beauty of that is that by spiking yourself more frequently, you can habituate a better mood. It actually becomes more normal. But what's most important is recognizing if you're, say, at a 5 out of 10, like a lot of people, 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 2 out of 10, even 7 out of 10, whatever it is, recognizing where you're at without external stimulus and saying, what could I do to change it so that my default, where I land without having to be externally stimulated, lands at a higher point. And this is where the hidden versions of what, spiritual teachers call low vibration energy, this is where it kicks in. And that is recognizing that refrigerator hum that's always there that you're not familiar with of things like frenetic energy. It feels like you're happy, but it's untethered. It's ungrounded. It's a discombobulated energy where you're kind of just like riding this kind of dirty high, so to speak. And that comes from you're getting what you want. Yes, yes. Getting what you want. Yes, yes. Maybe you're out meeting people and you got a good reaction. Or maybe you're at a gambling casino and it's like, oh, I'm winning. Yeah. I'm winning, right? So you're on a high. You're not in it. You wouldn't think that's a low vibration energy state. You're on a high because you're throwing down, you're winning, right? In the physical world, you're getting what you want, but you're craving more of it. And you know that when things don't keep going how you expect, that good mood goes away. So it's an ungrounded good mood. Another one you could also call generalized discontent. What that means is that when someone is in kind of a low vibration state, they just feel this feeling that shit is just wrong and we should change it. And I'm not quite sure why, but we should change it. Politicians really push this button because no matter how well the previous president did, people, if they're in a state of generalized discontent, just sort of feel like something's wrong. They're not really sure why, and they want change. So if you start making statements like, oh, everything's going to shit right now, you know what it is? It's them. That incites what's called the pitchfork-wielding mob. Okay, so in the masses, you have this concept of the pitchfork-wielding mob, where there's this generalized discontent that feels unhappy, and it's like, I feel unhappy, but I don't quite know why. And the intent is kind of looking like, why am I unhappy? Why am I unhappy? I don't know. Yeah. And then someone says, look, it's Frankenstein. It's Quasimodo. It's a witch. It's Julien Blanc. Oh! Or, whatever witch hunt they want to put on. It's the last president. It's taking this country to hell in a handbasket. And what happens there is that when someone is in a state of generalized discontent, they're looking for a reason that they're pissed and finally say, it's that. It's that. And rather than feeling gratitude, there's actually a feeling of victimhood. In a low vibration state, you're feeling victim. You're feeling that things are wrong. You want to get out of this state. You don't quite know why. And it's like this feeling something has to change. Now, why do we biologically have that? I think it's that, like, say you're underslept, you're undernourished, maybe you're kind of cold. Your body's like, yo, dude, whoever's leadership you're following right now is sucking. You need to make a change. So it's kind of like this function of the mind that wants to create change. But the problem is, when you have a society where the food is processed, where work tends to be not creative and repetitious, where there's violence on TV, greed and corruption on TV, and always, if you go right now to CNN.com, go right now, okay, pause and go to CNN.com, look at it, and see how much of the news is negative news about death, bad things that are happening, scandal, this horrible evidence comes to light. This guy has a rant. This guy is out of control. This guy's crazy. This is going to shit. This guy died. Like, epic amounts of murder and death. You'd think this world is just going to shit right now. Like, how could we even be here with the ocean right here, with cameras working? It's all going to hell right now. It's the worst it's ever been. And, paradoxically in society, oftentimes things are getting better while they get worse too. There is both. I don't think the environment's the best it's ever been, as an example, and there's many other examples. But there is actually people that have studied this, and they're like, human beings are in the least amount of danger ever. there's the most amount of opportunity in terms of economic prosperity ever. Whether or not you agree with that depends what statistics that you're looking at. I understand that. But certainly, there's enough good stuff going around for you to enjoy if you just drop your victim story, take some action. You've got great opportunity. I know you could say, like, the education system and the food system and this and that and the other fucking thing, and you'd be right about all of it. You'd be so right. But nonetheless, if you were to stop focusing on that and focus on opportunity, you're in a nice position. And that's called gratitude. So that's like you have frenetic energy, like you're happy, but is untethered. Or maybe you have generalized discontent, where you're kind of just pissed off about things. Maybe you have self-attack, where you just beat on yourself and you're always just finding some way to attack yourself. And maybe you're saying, no, it's good that I do that. It's holding myself to a higher standard, but you're just attacking yourself. Or maybe there's this fear that you're not going to get the approval that you want. And people are talking bad of you and you're thinking and fixating on how to get that approval. I need this approval. I need that approval. Maybe you go out to a nightclub, you go start talking to people and people are rude to you, reject you. It's like a punch in the stomach. It raises your adrenaline, raises your cortisol, takes you away from the present moment. And then now you're in this weird kind of fixating and craving. Maybe you have a crush on a guy or a girl, because this is for your self-help channel, or you're gay. And basically, you are craving that validation. You're away from the present moment in this hazy daydream in your mind, thinking about this person's approval that you want. Or maybe you're craving a certain food and you just can't stop thinking about it, or a certain experience, or an article of clothing that you need right now. And if you don't get it, you're just gonna go crazy and you need it. You know, maybe a store owner says, oh, this is the last one, and it drives you nuts and you start craving it and you go to buy it, because a lot of purchases are made off of low vibration energy, right? You're not gonna have a great society in a society of Buddhist monks. So, you know, wearing like cloth robes, right? So these are different examples. You have example of needing to control things, and when you don't quite have it, it freaks you out. Maybe you're thinking of a future that you don't quite know. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen in the future? What's gonna happen? I don't know. And you're fixating. You don't know right now. You can't find the solution right now, but you're fixating on it. Maybe there's something with your safety that you're unsafe. It's not a good situation. You're fixating, which is actually taking you away from the present moment, taking you away from a state of positivity where you're most resourceful, because when you're happy and just open, you're resourceful and can respond rather than react in fear and scarcity and craving, but you're responsive. That's the best state, right? But when there's this reactive charge around it, not so good. Maybe you have just general attachments. You need an outcome. You need it. It has to happen or you're just unhappy. And any of this soup of just frenetic energy or discontent or massive pain body attack or any of these can be, for you, very obvious, extremely obvious, but they can also be a refrigerator hum of slight distance from the present moment.
The way I personally like to view it is that we're all putting our hand like in fire, and then we're just living, trying to mitigate the pain. That's it. It's like you're born, and due to the way you're conditioned, you place your hand in fire, and then you live your life according to that, in reaction to that. And this is what causes that frenzy. It's like you sit alone with yourself and suddenly start realizing, oh my God, my hand's in these fucking flames, it's hurting. What if I put a little bit of water on it? Say approval, say success, say money, any kind of gratification. A little bit of water, a little bit of water. Distraction, yeah, it's like, don't think about the flame, don't think about the fire, and that's our existence. And everything we do is just an escape.
Diversion.
Including, and this is how it gets subtle, even self-help advice. Like, you hear getting a purpose will make you happy. And in reality, it's true. When you are fulfilled, you will have a purpose that is authentic as a byproduct of that. But the way that people go about it is that they have their hand in the fire and they're like, oh my God, I need the purpose, that's the solution. And it's all this surface work where you're just putting these band-aids hoping that it'll just stop, when in reality, you have to remove your hand completely from the flames. And this will affect you no matter where you go. It'll color your experience of everything, even if you get the money, the success, and this is something that more people are realizing nowadays, where you have more and more in terms of accomplishing stuff. You know, more people are, becoming successful. They have access to more things with the internet, technology evolving, and more people are realizing it didn't work. It's like
there's more millionaires than ever now. And there's more people in six figures a year than ever now.
Yeah.
And there's more people with promising careers now than ever. So that being the case, wait a minute, it didn't work.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. There's more people who are aware of personal development. There's more people who are like, it's now cool to work on yourself. And, instead of just being stuck at the bottom, you try to fix it. And I remember that was me. It's like I get into success with women and I'm like, okay, well, self-help, you can change this. I used to be a 3 out of 10, just nonstop. I'm like, I can do something about it. And I started improving all these different areas of my life, and they did. It was a struggle because you are addicted to that state, so you are going to self-sabotage a lot. But say you just barrel through, you can make it, but the more you kind of venture down this road of success and the more you make it, the more you realize nothing is changing that 3 out of 10. It's just surface work. Now, that doesn't mean that any of those things are bad. Of course not. It's like, fuck yeah, go all out, make money, become successful, get girls, etc., etc. But it's not going to affect that baseline. And that's like the surface work, the deep work. And you have to get to that deep work. You have to find a way to get to the cause and change that. You have to find a way to remove your hand from the fire. And as soon as you do, everything just kind of falls into place. And only then can you actually start enjoying all those accomplishments. Most people are stuck down here. You get into personal development, you start optimizing what I call a paradigm based on scarcity. But to really reach true 10 out of 10 abundance, whatever you want to call it, you need to completely drop the paradigm of scarcity. So in a way, it's quite nihilistic. You're one step away from there's no point to anything. Because that's the key. For this to be your default, you need to feel 10 out of 10 doing absolutely nothing. And this is where you also notice how that low vibration energy will kick in. It's when you feel the compulsiveness, like the need to do something.
Craving.
Yeah, the craving. Like I see it in terms of self-help, like self-help junkies. I'm like, what if you don't improve yourself? And there's so much resistance. Like, I must. What if I tell you right now to not be successful? I must be successful. What if I told you to stop hustling? I must hustle. Like anything where it's like, I must is compulsive. It's an escape. That's not high vibration energy. What you have to do is be okay with doing absolutely nothing. Realize there's nothing you need to do. And this is extremely freaky because then it's like, well, if there's nothing I need to do, what's the purpose? What's the whole point of life? And you're one step away from realizing, there's no point to anything. But at the same time, you're one step away from getting to this 10 out of 10 experience of yourself. Because when you're okay with everything, there's nothing you need to do, you do feel 10 out of 10. And what you will notice is that instead of acting from desperation, inspiration will kick in. You'll actually be inspired to do something, and you will be inspired to have your own best interests at heart. Because that's what we think. Unless I make myself hustle, unless I make myself be successful, unless I make myself be healthy, I won't. But that's not true. What you realize is when you're completely okay and you let go of all resistance, external and internal, you'll be inspired to do all those things naturally.
So just wrapping, it's the idea of subtlety and how you don't realize that you're a fish in water surrounded by nothing but liquid. But you don't know it because it's all you know. You're unaware of it.
Yeah, and no one is immune to it. We all have it due to the way that we're conditioned. And this is key to understand, where when you're born, when you come into this world, you come into a society. Okay, and really pay attention. You come into society and there are certain rules, there are certain guidelines in order for all of us to survive and thrive together as a whole. And what's key is that due to the way that we're raised, which is basically, you're rewarded when you're good and you're punished when you're bad. And due to the fact that as children, we have a very limited perspective and we depend on our parents for survival. If they abandon you, you'll die. Instead of just viewing these as, guidelines and rules, like say you're loud at a restaurant and your parents tell you, hey, shut the fuck up. You're not going to be like, here's a guideline for the restaurant, I guess I'll be considerate. The way you interpret it is, oh my God, my parents right now, by telling me to shut the fuck up, do not love me. Again, you have a very limited perspective. And not only that, but if they do not love me, they could abandon me and I could die. So it's extremely traumatic. And what we do is we suppress, for example, that aspect of you that is loud at the restaurant. So it's not just, here's a rule, I won't be loud here. It's, I must disown this. And this really depends on the environment you're in. It goes as far as disowning things like laughter, being positive. If you're in a family where, say, everyone's miserable and you go home and your parents are really miserable and you start laughing and smiling, they're going to tell you, hey, shut the fuck up. None of that shit here. Like, don't be happy. Put your head down. You don't deserve to be happy. You don't deserve to make X amount of money. Making this much money means you're corrupt. Look at all these rich people. They're corrupt. You're like, I can't make that much money. So there's all these definitions. There's all these aspects that just become ingrained. And it happens to all of us. No matter who you are, no matter how good your upbringing was, there were parts of you that you were conditioned to believe were bad, were unacceptable, and this gives you that feeling from literally the moment you're born that you're not enough, you're not good enough. Even this way of being brought up where you're only rewarded when you're good immediately tells you you have to be good to be loved. You're not loved by default. You're not loved unconditionally. So you start meeting all these conditions, and then that becomes your life, this chase of meeting new requirements, new conditions, hoping to be loved. And the key here is that this shit bubbles up and it'll attack you, it'll affect you in all these subtle ways. And if you want to get rid of it all, to get to the cause, it's about re-owning all these aspects that you've suppressed and that you've disowned. And there are two different ways of going about this. There's the external approach where, let's just say you get different reference experiences of being loud and nothing happens, as an example. But then there's also the internal, which is a very contemplative process where you go back and let go of all the resistance around being loud. And it's only then when you re-accept all of those things and let go of them that you can finally kind of release this negative energy that's really ruining you, ruining the quality of your life, and just really killing all these opportunities.
And I'd say that, understand that it's about a lightness in your energy to where when you're communicating with people, they want to be around you. It's fluid. Yeah. There's a creativity to it, a fun, a joy, an expansiveness. And so when you're sitting there at that Starbucks and let's say there's somebody you want to talk to right next to you, it's just so easy to go, hey. And it's like that energy just expands out and kind of hits them and makes them feel really good, as opposed to when you're carrying all this trauma and you say, hey, and they can just feel a darkness or an invasiveness. And then ironically, and this is so unfortunate, what you see is people who become complete introverts and in this like competitive, animosity-based, non-collaborative based relationship with the whole world, because every time they go to talk, people reject them, which further traumatizes them and down.
Oh yeah.
So
well, another big one too, just in terms of success with women, is as a kid, almost every guy has this. You like a girl in school, like say you're 5 years old, you're like, oh, you like this girl? You're just shamed for it and like brutally, viciously mocked for liking a girl. So immediately you're like, must suppress this aspect of me that likes a girl, and that'll stay with you. And guess what? Now you're here in your adult life, carries into your adult life. You want to go say hi to a girl, it brings back that same traumatic memory and experience of you being shamed, and now you just block. And you have what we call a pain body attack, where you get triggered, where the anxiety that a lot of guys have when going to talk to a girl is so disproportionate, it's insane. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to a stranger, it's a little uncomfortable. It feels like life or death. They're hanging onto the wall due to that. You go back and release all that resistance around, again, being a guy who's talking to a girl. It's okay to talk to a girl, and guess what? All this shit will become effortless. You will be in a total state of non-resistance, and again, the quality of your life will fucking change. And this is really a big reason I created Transformation Mastery. It's for you, and it's this whole process where it hits on the internal and the external, for you to re-own all that, for you to go back, get to the cause, all these aspects you've suppressed, and it's unique to you. Again, depending on your upbringing, the environments you were in, the perspective you had, how you interpreted things, it's different to the individual. It's like how to re-own that and how to really change the quality of your life and get rid of this negative energy that is really fucking you up.
It was fucking amazing. This was huge for me. This was so important.
This gave me by far the greatest happiness I've ever had.
And we got like real deep, and I found some issues within myself. One of the best things I've seen so far in my life.
He's made me realize some of the things that I had been suppressing for almost my entire life.
This here, like if you remember this and you take it with you, like that's what you need. You can't bullshit your subconscious. Until you fully accept and release and go through and experience all the stuff you've suppressed, you're always going to be escaping. When the fuck do we actually sit down, really get in touch with what's going on, and like experience it? Where else are you gonna let loose like this? Where else? And where else are there gonna be other people who push you to let loose even more? Nowhere. Everything outside this room is telling you to do the opposite. As soon as you leave this room, you're back in society, back in a place where people tell you to shut the fuck up. They tell you everything that's wrong about you. They tell you to fit in. I don't care what is authentic to you, just keep it to yourself. You don't deserve it. Don't be happier than everyone else. Fit in. Ah! Now talk. Bring it. Ah!
This is the type of place that shows you what's possible.